are reading Devarim, chapter 33, verse 24. And Rashi says, "O Asher Amar Baruch Mi Banim Asher," that Asher is blessed with sons. And Rashi says, "Ra'isi b'Sifri," I see in the Sifri that Ein L'cha b'Kol Hashvatim, that there's no one amongst all the tribes who's blessed with sons like Asher. But I don't know what that means. Rashi says, "Ve'ini yodea ketzad." I don't understand this. Rashi says, I don't know what this means. Why was Asher saying that it says Baruch Mi Banim Asher could also mean the most blessed of sons is Asher? But why would Moshe bless Asher as being more blessed than the others? And Asher has done nothing to distinguish himself. So Rashi says, I don't know what this means. Ini Yodea Ketzad. Do you know how many times in Rashi says he doesn't know the meaning of something? So Rashi says 77 times in his commentary, I don't know the meaning of this verse. 77 times. And in the Talmud, Rabbi Akiva Eger lists 44 places in his commentary to the Talmud. And then there's an additional 69 citations where Rashi says, I don't know, in Mayan Tishrei 5751. So, and two of those citations from the 44 and the 69 maybe weren't written by Rashi. But okay, so you say 43 and 68. That's 109, right? And then no, not 100, 111, 111 and 77 in the Torah. So that's 188 times Rashi says, writes down, I don't know. Is that amazing? And he writes it 188 times. I don't know the meaning of this. What?
I guess it's parts of the text.
Which text? Well, Rashi won't acknowledge that. No. That's yeah. That's what we have to say. To change it differently. Maimonides says if you say one letter is not from Moses at Sinai, that's heretical.
No, but what if all the letters are from Moses, but you've lost some letters, and therefore you have gaps in your understanding?
So it's clear that there have been some letters that there's not agreement on. That is clear, but they still don't acknowledge that. Like they'll still say, if you say Rambam says explicitly, if you say one letter is not from Moses at Sinai, that makes you a heretic. So even though everyone who opens up the book and looks at the text of the Torah and knows that there are different versions, the Talmud cites different verses, that there's different versions of the text, there's some different, depending upon the codex you have. Nevertheless, pretty much it's in the Orthodox community, it's acknowledged that to speak about such ideas publicly is considered to mark you as a heretic, because you're giving gasoline to the biblical critics who say that the whole Torah was written by a committee. No, seriously, that's what they argue. The Torah was written by a committee or by a specific person, and it was an amalgamation of different. So that would be something that we don't want to say or acknowledge. Yeah, I'm not.
You just don't want to talk about it.
Exactly.
There are things you don't want to say.
The things that it's better off, and even if there are different versions, even if you would say that today within the religious community, there's one version which we work off of to try to find spiritual meaning. Meaning, even if you would argue successfully that, everything okay? even if you would argue successfully that this verse was truncated, still for the last 2,000 years, people have looked at this verse as the verse, and great rabbis have found meaning in it and inspiration. So therefore, that's our task also. Right? We're not looking at this text as scholars, we're looking at it for spiritual inspiration.
Okay, even Rashi throws his hands up beside him. What this means.
So that's why sometimes we throw our hands up and say we don't know what it means.
It seems like
That too is a spiritual message.
Actually, I like that message. I don't like when people say I know it all. My way is the only way, and
Yeah.
I know it all.
I always feel that way too, that Rashi, of all the great rabbis, he's the one I would love to meet the most, because he writes with such humility and simplicity and clarity. Okay. Now we see the next verse. The next verse tells us, Yehi Ratzoi Achav, Asher is pleasing to his brothers. Shahaya mitratzeh Achav, B'shemen an pi kinon. Asher made himself pleasing to his brothers with an pi kinon oil. What does that mean? This is oil from olives, which we know from Tractate Pesachim reach only a third of their growth. That was the cosmetic purposes. They use such oil. So Asher produced that oil, and with kaplaot, these are dainties, that Asher had oil. So Rashi says, we can get to that in a moment. It was in the tribe of Asher. Well, from right here it says it. But Tovel b'shemen ragov. From this verse, it says that he dipped in the oil of his foot. So that's what Rashi says it. And Rashi will tell us a story in a moment.
so it's not olive oil.
It is olive oil. Davar acher. What does it mean he shall be pleasing to his brothers? Shayu benosav naot. Asher's daughters were very beautiful. Who should number b'divrei ayamim? This is what it means in the Chronicles. Hu avi birzayit. He was the father of Birzayit. Shayu benosav nisuot l'kohanim gedolim. Birzayit's daughters were married to the high priests, Hanim shachim b'shemen tzayit, which were anointed with olive oil. V'tovel b'shemen raglo, and Asher dipped his food in oil. Sha'ita artzo moshechet shemen kamayan. Asher's land was flowing with oil like a spring. Umaisa, and there was an incident. Shenitztarchu anshe udkiya shemen, that the people of Laodicea needed oil. Manu lahem pulmustus echad v'kua. They appointed a non-Jewish emissary, and they got the oil. I'll tell you the whole story, but David, we're just talking about your piece. I was sharing with Shoshana, and Shoshana says she always loves it when you do the write-ups.
Yeah, but you haven't sent me anything in ages. Did I fall off your list?
No, I read writing this
Oh.
much, but then
All right, there you go. Now that you hear from Shoshana. So,
I appreciate it. It's important stuff.
yeah, we were talking about I was sharing with everybody what you wrote in the about the Ne'ilah being the appeal for the prisoners. So let me tell you this story, which Rashi is referring to, that there was the people of Laodicea needed oil. This was a city in Asia Minor, and they appointed an emissary, a non-Jewish emissary, to go to Asher to get the oil. And they said to him, bring us 140,000 gallons of olive oil. How much is that?
It's a lot.
Is that like a cruise ship?
yeah, it's
He went to Jerusalem. They told him, go to Tyre. He went to Tyre. They told him, go to Gush Chalav, which is in Asher. There they told him, go to this field. They went and found him digging ditches around his olive trees. The emissary said, do you have 1 million mana, which is 140,000 gallons of olive oil? He said to them, wait until I finish my work. He waited until he finished his work. After he finished his work, he slung his tool over his shoulder, began picking up stones and throwing them out of the orchard as a hired worker would, causing the emissary to think that he had been sent to speak with a mere hired hand. So he said to him, could you have 1 million mana of oil? I think the Jews are playing a trick on me. Once they arrived at the town of the orchard owner, his servant brought out a jug of hot water for him. He washed his hands and feet. She then brought him a golden cup full of oil, and he dipped his hands and feet in it. In fulfillment of the verse, that we just read, he dips his feet in oil. After they had eaten and drunk, he measured out 1 million manna of oil for the emissary and said to him, "Do you need any more?" The emissary said, "Yes, but I do not have sufficient money." He said to him, "If you want to take, then take, and I'll come along with you and collect its price." He measured out another 180,000 manna of oil, which is 1/5 of 140,000 gallons. So, I don't know, 35 gallons or something. So then they say that the emissary, hired every horse, mule, camel, and donkey in the land to carry the oil. Once the emissary returned to his town, the townspeople came out to praise him because he succeeded in his mission. He said, "Don't praise me, but rather this man who comes with me, who measured out 1 million manna worth of oil for me, and to whom I still owe for an additional 180,000. This man fulfilled the latter half of the verse. There is someone who acts like a rich man but has nothing, and someone who acts like a poor man though he has great wealth." So this man, he acted like a poor man. He was clearing out his own rocks, but in the end, he had a lot of money. Let me tell you, speaking of this, that this story reminds me of a story that happened in the yeshiva yesterday. I'll tell you this story. One of the boys who came to the yeshiva, he crashed his car. He was okay, but he recently had his license. He got a fender bender, and so then he's worried. Like you can imagine what a young teenager is going to worry. So he called me up, asked me if I know somebody could fix his car. So yeah, my friend will fix it. Go to my friend and just tell him you're friends with me and I'll give you a good deal. So he went to my friend, and then he said, "How much is it?" He said, "The parts are $1,500. The labor will be this." He said, "But I'll take the next 100 hours of your Torah study as a reward instead of paying the money. You give me the next 100 hours, and then don't pay me because you study Torah every day." So he said, "Okay, who do you think got the better deal?" Who got the better deal?
Was the car fixed before the parents knew or after?
No, the parents knew about it, obviously.
I was going to say it goes along with figuring out who got the better deal. You got the car fixed before your mother knew about it.
No, it's going to take a week to fix it. And my guess is it would have been like a $4,000 or $5,000 project.
Yeah, that's a very generous.
On whose part, though? The boy's giving him 100 hours of Torah study.
Yeah, but that's good for him.
For who?
The boy.
Yeah, but he's giving all the reward too.
Okay. You don't have an accident with your car and not have to pay something.
Right, you have to pay something, right? I don't know. I just was thinking that this man got a good deal because he's got a lot of money. What's he going to do with another few $1,000s? But now he goes up to heaven. He could say, "Listen, what do you think is going to be the first thing they ask for in heaven? His $2,000, or he could point out the acts of charity that he did or the Torah study he did. Clearly, he's going to hold this right at the front. And it's very rare that that you're giving like a charity and get something tangible. Like a lot of people give to very good charitable organizations. If you don't know exactly how the money's being spent, even if it's the greatest organization in the world, I'm not saying there's something wrong, but there's overhead, but here you see it directly. Like you're giving it straight into the hands of scholarship. So anyway. Okay, so the next verse states, iron and copper are your locks. So may your old age be. And like the days of your prime may your old age be. What does that mean? What? I don't even know what this means. We need Rashi. Iron and copper are your locks. And your old age may be like your prime. This is what Rashi translates it. Iron and copper are your locks. Now Moses is no longer addressing one specific tribe, he's now addressing all of Israel. They're mighty commandos who are living on the border towns. And that would be the lock for the country. The commandos lived on the border so that nobody else could get in. Like it was closed up. shall barzel nechoshes, with locks and bars of iron and copper. I'm sorry?
Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense?
No.
He's saying that your rocks are iron and copper. So what Rashi says this refers to is all of Israel sends their mightiest warriors to the border, and it's like they're locking up. It's like they call in the basketball, he's a lockdown defender. Right? So that's what it means. He's a lockdown. These are locking down the state. Alternative, Barzal Nechoshet Minalecha, copper and iron are your locks. Artsam Nu'ua Beharim, your land is locked with mountains. Shechotzvin Mehen. Hello. Did you get the mosquito?
I'm allergic to some of these things.
Oh, I got like 500 bites already out here.
I'm able to keep that sense.
We had enough, right? You mean so? Yeah, I'm getting bit up too. We'll just do this and we'll stop and we'll go inside. Your land is locked with mountains. And the land of Asher was the lock of Israel. Okay, we're going to go inside because the mosquitoes are really taking it personally against us.
Yeah.
They're sucking my blood, and because they also think they need to eat in this sukkah. So they feel like they need to eat my blood in this sukkah. They're feasting. Sorry, Mr. Mosquito. Time for me to go inside. Yeah, Shekoach.
Okay, thank you. Rabbi,
Yes.
do you know that Ariel Wolf had a terrible